A very warm good evening to all of you present here for today's session on industrial guidance for software engineering undergraduates. I'm Yadushika Vallavan, a final year undergraduate and board member of Software Engineering Steering Committee of SLIIT, and I will be your today's compare of the event. So today's session will give you an insight about the industrial environment, which is brought to you by the Software Engineering Steering Committee of SLIIT in collaboration with IFS, which is one of the leading, well-established and award-winning global software enterprise solution provider. This workshop will be conducted by well-experienced professionals from IFS. Therefore, we encourage you to ask questions and clarify any doubts that you have during the Q&A session, which will be held at the end. You can also use the chat window to post your questions, which will be answered during the Q&A. Without further ado, I would like to warmly welcome Ms. Dinithi, who is the Talent Acquisition and Employer Branding Specialist at IFS, to give a brief introduction about industrial guidance for software engineering undergraduates. Over to you, Ms. Dinithi.
All right. So thank you very much, and a very good evening to all of you. So it's actually an honor to be able to share our experience and our expertise on a platform like this, and to support in terms of your career and your career growth. So we have, just like one of the students explained, so we have 5 prominent team members who are present here today to share their expertise and their experience with you. So without taking more time, let's start our session. Right. So desire to inspire. This is an exclusive session that we have we are conducting, collaborating with SLIT, and the expectation of this session is to support you in terms of sharing our experience. Could be technical experience, could be soft skills, and in terms of like general I understanding that the students should have to face an interview successfully, and to make sure that you can we are supporting you to take your career to the next step after your studies, right? So if I share the outline with y'all, which is planned out for today, we will have a brief introduction to who we are, that is IFS, our story, and how we have evolved throughout the time to be who we are today. And then we will be sharing very inspiring set of information about the exclusive set of customers that we are working with and the importance of it, which is conducted by our very own Kasun Ariyadasa, Director for Software Engineering. And next, we'll be taking you through on the technical expertise that we are expecting from a software engineering fresher or a graduate, which is conducted by Heshan Gunasekara, Director for Software Engineering. And an area that we have identified, basically based on the interactions that we have with students on a daily basis, is that we have to give yeah, some sort of a support in terms of putting theory into practice, and to making sure that we help you in identifying how to face an interview properly, how to face scenarios outside your university properly. So for that, we have our very own Lahiru and Ishan, who are senior managers for the global consulting arm of IFS, uh, here today to take you through on those aspects. And finally, one of the most important aspects, I would say, in terms of soft skills and in terms of developing soft skills, we will be sharing our insights, and that is done by Dilushi, who's Senior Manager for Global Support. And lastly, we will be opening our forum for y'all to interact with us and to share maybe your experience and on any clarity on set of questions that y'all have. We'll be able to answer to those as well. So before I start the session, I would like to warmly welcome you, all of you once again. And so this is not just going to be a one-way session. We want y'all to interact with us and take the maximum benefit out of this, because we'll be meeting you very soon. And we want y'all to take this platform um, to support in terms of how you will be facing our interviews. That's the whole idea of this. Right. So, usually, it could be an organization, it could be a person. The history and the establishment is quite important for what we are to become in the future, right? In terms of our values, in terms of our culture, the vision that we have. So the same goes with IFS as well. And we have a very inspiring story to share with y'all. Maybe some of you might already know, maybe not. So for everyone's benefit, um, y'all must be wondering how this massive organization came into place, right? So it didn't start any differently. It started with four undergraduates, just as y'all, coming into the limelight and then giving their vision and putting their efforts out, and that's how IFS came into place. So in 1983, four Swedish undergraduates. So basically, they were looking for their summer internship, and then they were able to secure their internship with a nuclear power plant, an organization who's into that area. And the promise that these four undergraduates gave this organization was that we will be there to support you 24/7, but we'll be just having a small tent closer to your vicinity of the nuclear power plant, and we just have to be there. So by being in this small tent, these four Swedish undergraduates uh, took the next step in terms of their internship, in terms of their career, and brought the IFS dream come true. And at that time, that's about 38 years ago, I would say. So at that time, this providing customers the importance, and then giving them the benefit, supporting them, was a very rare scenario. Those qualities were not um, uh, familiar or popular at that time. But so that is something that is unthinkable, right? So that is how IFS came into place. And to date, the one of the key reasons for our success is that we are very close to our customers, and we are very strong in terms of our values and our culture and the vision, the sustainable vision that we have. So that's how IFS came into place. And starting at that point, today, this is where we stand. So we are 4,500 plus in terms of our employee base across the globe, and we are present in 50 plus countries. And we have our offices in about 25 countries, that is covering almost all the continents. And 10,000 plus customers we are serving as to date, and it keeps growing. And these customers are not just customers. You will get to know about their story and what we do with them more from Kasun. They are very inspiring and organizations, basically those who are uh, doing a difference in the world. So we are collaborating with them. And another important factor is that IFS as an organization, we have a revenue growth of 3 times versus the average market growth rate. So in turbulent times, in crisis situations, still we are going very strong. So that is, of course, because of our Team Purple, and again, the technical expertise and the vision that we have as an organization and as a team. And towards the end of 2021, we were at a 984 million USD in terms of revenue, and it keeps growing, very close to becoming a billion-dollar organization. So that's the global story. And probably you must be wondering, what is it about IFS and Sri Lanka? So let me touch upon that as well very quickly. So Sri Lanka is one of the strongest uh, presence in terms of the entire IFS organization. Sri Lanka has been identified as a knowledge hub by the company. And if you take the count in terms of the number of employees to date, we have about 1,800 plus employees, and it keeps growing. It's very close to becoming 2,000 plus. And that is about I would say over 1/4 of the entire employee base in terms of the numbers. And not just that. So IFS Sri Lanka started in 1997, and we have been ever since supporting the entire process of the organization. We have a very inspirational office premises, and there's a lot of collaboration, a lot of space to think, to be creative, and that's what we are promoting. So having said that, I want to close the introduction by sharing with you another small um, segment. So I was constantly referring to the culture and the value and the sustainability of an organization. So that is what IFS is about, and that's the difference. So as students, software engineers who are trying to get into the industry, y'all must be aware about so many organizations providing different types of platforms. But I would like to stress the point of why IFS and why are we different. So throughout the conversation from my team, you'll get to know more information about that. But stressing out this point that we find a lot of organizations, right? And y'all, it's not a tough task for y'all to secure a job, but this is a place that is giving you much more than a career. It's actually a family, and we stand very strong in terms of our values, core values, and our sustainability. In terms of an organization providing back to the society, and then taking care of our employees, making sure that they are not just going through a career, not just getting promoted or let's say getting benefits, but as a person, we are trying to develop them. Very inspiring employees are there with us, very senior employees. So they're there to support the newcomers and also the existing employees. And that is the secret behind IFS. Why it's standing very strong, up to date, and even in the future going very strong as an organization is because of that. So we are very close to the customers, and we stand to deliver this concept of moment of service. That's what we stand for. Uh, Having the collaboration, the agility, and the trustworthiness within the organization. So, taking that introduction, I hope you all got a brief understanding of who we are and what we do. So let me hand over to Kasun to take the session forward from that point. Kasun, over to you. I will shift to the next slide.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dinithi. So I think sharing has gone. Yes, fantastic. Thank you so much. And it's so inspiring when we say that we started in that tent, and after 38 years, we are a global company, starting very small as 4 undergraduates, by 4 undergraduate, and now a global company covering all the continents. So that is the exposure that we all get. Doesn't matter whether you are a software engineer or a product specialist or a business systems analyst or a consultant or a manager, but the global exposure that we get is fascinating. So I sincerely hope that you have some opportunity within IFS so that you can truly experience that as well. And when it comes to IFS, I see two main success factors or two main pillars. There could be so many success factors behind IFS's success, but I see two main aspects. One is its people. We call them IFSs, people who worked for this company for that 38 years, and people who worked for IFS Sri Lanka for that 25 years. And in this November 3rd, we are celebrating our 25th anniversary, which is a significant milestone in Sri Lanka. So all of them who contributed to that success. And the other main pillar is its customers, our own customers, 10,000 plus customers, starting from that nuclear power plant to who was in the energy industry. But now we are covering so many industries. And when it comes to IFS, IFS used to be an ERP software supplier, but today it's not just providing ERP software solutions, but rather we cover enterprise asset management software solutions, enterprise service management software solutions, which goes beyond the enterprise resource planning softwares. But our enterprise resource planning software is the largest product and the main product that brings us greater revenue. And in this industry, we are competing with some of the giants. I'm sure you all know about SAP, who is the leader in the industry so far. And also Microsoft, a well-diversified company, and also Oracle, another well-diversified company, Workday, Epica, Barnes. So those are the competitors that we are dealing with. So the competition is massive, and our competitors are so big. So you can understand then how IFS is in a position to secure 3 times greater growth rate compared to the industry average. It's about the great vision, it's about the great execution, and it's about people who are working today and who worked for IFS this far. And when we say our growth potential, we have target industries. We are not focusing on all the industries. That's quite obvious because as an ERP provider, it's almost impossible to cover all the industries, but rather we have target industries, and in certain industries we are leading, and in certain industries we want to reach that leadership. And when I say in certain industries we are leading, definitely aerospace and defense comes first, in which we have secured customers like US Army, US Navy, US Air Force, Lockheed Martin, Royal Norwegian Airlines, China Airline, Qantas, Etihad, Emirates, Hindustan Aeronautic Limited, British Airways Systems, so many customers. So the beauty is that the exposure that you get, it goes beyond the software development. And since we are addressing the software engineers or potential software engineers, but the opportunities goes beyond that software development because I'm pretty sure that you all will not stick into pure software development forever, but you will grow faster, learning the business processes, getting into different business requirements and business processes, exploring yourself into different regions, countries, technologies, tech stacks. So it's not just sticking into one area. But here, if you join us, the opportunities are plenty, I would say, in this global setup. And when I say we are, and in those industries, I want to say that we are targeting small, we are not targeting small customers, but we are targeting medium and large scale customers. And just to give you an idea about the scale, on average, the deal size, I mean, when we sell our ERP software to a customer, we would charge 130 million Sri Lankan rupees on average. But recently we had a deal that we completed. The price is 5,400 million Sri Lankan rupees. Just a single sale to one customer, which is massive. So there are a lot of companies are in a position to pay that amount because the benefit is even greater. So if you look at global giants, big companies in the globe, almost all of them are using enterprise resource planning systems to run their business operations, to integrate their businesses, to make sure that information goes through the organization fast and enable efficient and accurate decision making. And IFS is one of the global customers that it comes into play whenever a company look for an ERP software solution. Then IFS is among the top 5, I would say. And when it comes to the customers, I thought of share a few stories. I'm sure that most of these customers, some of the customers probably quite new to you. But if you look at the middle, not the middle, but in the top row middle logo, or top row center, I would say, it's a logo, something like a dam in the blue color water background. That customer is called Three Gorges. I'm not sure whether you know about Three Gorges, but if you don't know, Three Gorges is the world's largest hydroelectric power plant. World largest hydroelectric power plant, multi times bigger than our largest one, which is Victoria. But Three Gorges is the world largest, based in China, using the water streams of Yangtze River, which is the longest river in Asia. And it is said that if they cease their operations today, they have the capacity to provide electricity to a country like Sri Lanka for 6 consecutive months, just to give you the scale of the company. And from the inception, they were using IFS ERP software and enterprise asset management software from 1999. So if I go to top right corner, a customer called 𝐸𝐴, Jotun, or it's a Danish customer, 𝐸𝐴, and 𝐸𝐴 is in the paint manufacturing industry, provide marine paints to all these large ships, one of the leading companies in the world. And interestingly, they are the customer who painted the tallest building in the world, which is Burj Khalifa. So another great customer. And this customer is quite unique because they have sites all around the world. 50 plus sites, if I remember correct, means that in all these sites, they should be able to run IFS ERP software, and they should be able to get the profit figures instantly, the total asset figures instantly. So if a software does not have the capability to integrate, does not have the capability to support these country requirements, then they would not pick IFS. So that's the depth and the breadth of the IFS ERP software. And then I go to the second row, the rightmost, that is Rolls-Royce. You might have heard Rolls-Royce as the luxurious car manufacturers. That's very true. But Rolls-Royce is the second largest company in the world that manufactures engines for aeroplanes and large vessels. Second largest company, one of IFS customers. And when Rolls-Royce is manufacturing for Boeing, the largest company in the world that provides engines to aeroplanes and vessels is GE Aviation. Even though GE Aviation is not in this list, it is also one of the IFS customers. So we have secured both number 1 and number 2 when it comes to that industry. And next to Rolls-Royce, towards my left side, I see Morgan Motors. Morgan Motors is another unique customer in the automobile industry. Why I pick Morgan Motors is that is the only family-owned business today in the world that manufactures motor vehicles using traditional method, handmade motor vehicles. So if you have time, Please go to Morgan Motors website. You will be able to see luxurious tri-shows, three-wheelers, not like Bajaj or TVS or I don't know what sort of models that we have in Sri Lanka, but these are so luxurious, and I would really love to have that kind of a three-wheeler. That's Morgan Motors. Then I would come to the third row. In the third logo, I see Air France KLM. KLM is the world's first airline. So the flag carrier of the Netherlands, Air France KLM, and as you can see, IFS is securing a lot of companies in aerospace and defense industry. Next to KLM is HAL, that is Hindustan Aeronautic Limited. And if you are watching our February 4th National Day ceremonies, you can see fighter jets are going here and there over the Gulf face, and a lot of them are from HAL, Hindustan Aeronautic Limited. Yes, plenty of global customers. It's impossible to take 10,000 plus customers into one slide, but we try to give you some glimpse of idea about our global customers. But we have some handful of local customers as well, and we are so proud to talk about our local customers. And one such is 𝐸𝐳𝐵 Brothers. When we talk about 𝐸𝐳𝐵 Brothers, it's about Ceylon tea. Ceylon tea is about the best tea in the world, without any doubt. Even in these difficult times, even the tea manufacturers or the tea plantations are struggling with the fertilizers and other stuff. Still, Sri Lanka is maintaining its dignity, the quality of Ceylon tea, and in which we control somewhere around 25% of the global market, whereas we are China and Kenya, if I remember correct, they are controlling higher percentage of the market. But when it comes to the quality, it's Ceylon tea. And these tea manufacturers around the globe, they blend Ceylon tea with other varieties to get the true or the real taste. And 𝐸𝐳𝐵 Brothers is exporting 50% of the Sri Lankan tea market, one of our lucrative customers. And next to 𝐸𝐳𝐵 Brothers is Silver Mill. If you eat Bounty chocolate, you remember the desiccated coconut or the flavored coconut inside that chocolate, which is provided by Silver Mill. You can see Silver Mill products. They are a family business in Giriyulla, Kurunegala district. They provide all different kind of products from coconut chips, coconut husk, flavored coconut, desiccated coconut, coconut milk, coconut powder, coconut drinking, coconut drink, coconut oil, you name one such product from coconut plant, then they do that product. Such a wonderful company. So the fascinating thing is that we get the opportunity to work with these companies all around the globe, and from industry to industry, business practices are different. From country to country, business processes are different. From customer to customer, the way that they are working are different. But getting into the rhythm of their business is quite fascinating, and it's massive learning, irrespective of which type of job role that you are assigned to. So you all will get that exposure if you join with us, which is truly a global exposure. And I know that you will be coming to the software engineering streams, and you will be wondering what sort of technical skills that is required from IFS side. But I can make sure that it's not a lot of things that we are looking when it comes to the technical aspect, but our technical expert is quite ready to share his views. So Heshan, my friend, over to you to talk about the technical expertise which we are looking from graduates. Over to you, Heshan.
Thank you, Kasun. I think that was a really good insight into our customers and our global presence of IFS. I think you all have learned on how spread we across the world and what kind of presence we have. So, like our customers, for our software engineers, our product specialists, and our software engineering QAs, and our DevOps engineers, for everyone, our technical expertise also has a very broad or a very global presence. It's basically, there's software engineers in IFS. It's not just software engineers in Sri Lanka, but are in a global level. So the expertise should match the global industries. And if you think about IFS, we not just only develop software, we engineer software. So it's two different things. It's if you throw some specs into any developer in the market, they can do a development, but to engineer large software like IFS, like an ERP solution or an enterprise service management or an enterprise asset management solution, it takes lots of technical expertise and lots of exposure, so that we all together as a team that we need to put our efforts to build a software like IFS. So if we move on to the next slide. Yes, so this is IFS tech stack. So like I said, we are a large ERP software development company, and we have, and our ERP solution is very, very mature. So it's been here for, it's been in the industry for around 30 plus years, and we have been in so much of evolution, and there have been a lot of technological changes, advancements over the years. So the latest we have is the IFS cloud. So if we take the IFS tech stack that we use in IFS, it's mainly, we use object-oriented programming languages like Java, .NET, C#.NET, and we use Oracle, SQL. And on top of that, for our cloud solutions, we use Microsoft Azure, Docker, Kubernetes, and for our CI/CD pipelines and all, we use Bitbucket, Jenkins, and especially for our front-end client development, we use Angular, HTML, HTML5, CSS3, and all those latest technologies are embedded into in building our IFS solution. So it's not just only having one particular technology platform. It's mainly the IFS platform is consistent with a lot of technologies, a lot of latest technologies. And if you take our mobile applications, we develop mobile applications in Android, iOS, and we have enterprise level mobile applications. It's not just that we do just applications for end users. It's that we develop our software applications as well as our mobile applications for enterprise level customers. So that includes lots of thinking, lots of considerations in terms of looking into the performance, security, usability of how we develop our software. So having said that, maybe we could go to the next slide, Dinithi. So when we think about IFS, there are several openings that we have for fresh graduates at the moment. So like I said, a software engineer at IFS, in a general software engineer, it will be exposed to lots of technologies, starting from Java to Angular to cloud technologies. As well as we have software engineers who will be expertise in backend development, like from Java. And we have software engineers who will be looking into our client development with Angular. And there are software engineer quality assurance in IFS. So this is a big difference from quality assurance engineer. So in IFS, a software engineer quality assurance is basically means the quality is assured within the entire software development lifecycle. So for example, in most cases, like even in school, you learn your quality needs to be assured, or you need to do this kind of testing to plan this kind of testing when you are building the software. So it's most probably towards the end of the software development lifecycle, right? So when you basically do some coding and you want to test those. But in IFS, like I said, we don't develop, we engineer software. So when you engineer software, you need to start from the very beginning, from where you actually have nothing on code, but it's just about planning. So we just need to think about performance, the security, the usability, and how well our software will behave with the industries. So those things need to be considered in a very preliminary age of software development. So for that reason, we need to have software engineers who has a better understanding of quality assurance. So that in the sense, that is why we have software engineer quality assurance. And also to maintain our cloud offerings and to maintain our continuous integrations, continuous deliveries, we have our DevOps engineers. So that is also another track we have that we especially will be recruiting for DevOps engineers. And lastly, there are product specialists who are mainly the expert in our deep functional aspects in IFS applications. So basically in that IFS cloud, we have vast areas of expertise, like we can start from service management areas, asset management, supply chain, financials, manufacturing, so and HR services. So basically we have a large set of offerings to our customers, and we need to have we need to have expertise, people who have capabilities on mapping our software requirements and to work with our software engineers and to work with our requirements and how and to verify those requirements and to analyze problems that our customers are having. So those kind of things will be done by product specialists. So that's mainly the categorizations of engineering openings that we have for fresh graduates. So if we move to the next slide. Okay, so I just explained to you about our tech stack and our presence at, our current job openings and what are the kind of the tracks that you could be looking into. But in terms of looking into a software engineer at IFS or a software engineer in QA or a DevOps engineer, what we expect from a fresh graduate. So that's mainly, if you think about IFS, it's IFS software engineers. It's not just about having that tech stack. It's not just about putting a code into a file or getting that code built up and just committing it. There's lots going on. So like I said, from design to develop and to maintain software. So those three things are very important. So you design, you develop, and you maintain. So that kind of consists the entire engineering process. So for a fresh graduate, we believe that you need to have a very solid foundation in software engineering concepts. So it's not just about OOP concepts, but it's about how you can apply those concepts. So maybe you know about programming paradigms and how well you can use those programming paradigms and what's the knowledge behind those. So so you need to have that sense of how you could apply those concepts effectively and to understand why you are using those concepts. And then I think most of you been in the first 2 years of 2 years of university, you'll be getting your hands dirty with, I would say, data structures and algorithms. And many students find this at some stage to be a little bit of challenging. But at IFS, we are a large software development company, and our software is basically have different modules, and that kind of consists thousands of engineers working together. And the fundamental or the foundation of any of these software development is mainly the data structures and algorithms. So it's about understanding, having a deep understanding about data structures and algorithms and how well you could think about our entities and how well you could analyze those data structures and how you could apply the data structures, and about the algorithms, how well you can solve complex problems. So those kind of things are very important. So especially when you think about technical things, it's not just about solving or not just about using a library and getting things done. It's always about understanding how well you could solve this problem. So then to tie into that, then you need to have the good or very good analytical and problem solving skills. So when we think about engineering as a whole, not just computer engineering or computer science, think about mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering. It's always about solving a problem. If you're building an airplane, what we do, we are basically solving a complex problem. right? So it's the same thing. So we are building world-class software for world-class customers, and in that sense, we need to make sure we should be able to solve very complex problems, and for complex problems, we need to have simple solutions, or solutions that have been loved by our customers, and then just a moment. Yeah, and then it's about having those problem solving skills, and then to display the knowledge that you have in programming, and to construct it using pseudocode. Why this is important? Why not that I could have your knowledge in object-oriented based programming, or like something like Python, Ruby, or Flutter, or something like that. It's basically you need to understand right now the world is evolving in a very rapid stage. In about another let's say 3 months time, you'll be getting a rather new platform or a framework to develop front-end applications. So you might have a different set of API tools to be used. So the world is evolving. So it's basically you need to understand the bigger why factors rather than just narrowing our minds into different silos. So in that sense, you need to understand how you can construct programming in pseudocode. So to understand so that it will enable you to do coding in any language, and you can be independent of you'll be able to learn any language at any given in any given moment. So that is very, very important. And then you need to be very enthusiastic to self-learn and to learn new technologies quickly. What I mean with enthusiastic is mainly to the ability. So you need to be very interested in technology. As a software engineer, you need to be very updated. Every day there will be new things in terms of security, in terms of software maintenance, in terms of learning new technologies. So it's all about new knowledge. So you should be able to gain that new knowledge, and you should be able to find that new knowledge. And with that, there's a few things that as a software engineer that you will need to get motivated by. So I would see, as a software engineer or a DevOps engineer or a software engineer in QA, you should have a can-do mindset, and you should be motivated by technical challenges. I know in university times you are very, very eager to participate in hackathons. So basically looking into the way of, building new mobile apps with your friends, and trying to solve complex problems, or trying to get your hands dirty. So you need to keep up that mindset, and you need to have that motivation bringing to the industry as well. And again, that means you need to have a very innovative mindset as well. And basically, we in software engineering, even especially like what we have seen with most of the software engineers that are joining as fresh graduates to the industry, is to sometimes they feel a bit afraid of things, getting things, to step into deep waters. Sometimes we get a bit afraid, and knowing, sometimes we fail. But at IFS, it's the opportunities that we give for our software engineers to try new things, try these technical challenges, and you should not be afraid to fail. So we always believe that we always learn from failures. So keep that in mind. I think that is very important when you're joining with IFS as a fresh graduate. And even if you have all these technical skills and everything together, it's very, very important that you have a very good communication and presentation skills, because the moment you can put everything that you have developed or everything you have concealed into a good good form in writing, or if you can put a really good presentations, and that might put you into a different stage where you could basically have communicate your ideas, communicate what you have built, and that will give you a lot of ability to succeed in your careers. So I think that kind of concludes how what are the expectations that we have from you as a fresh graduate, and I will hand over to Sean.
Yep. Right. Thank you, Heshan. Yes, I think Heshan and both Kasun explained a lot about the customers, what kind of company that we are, what level of that we are operating at the moment, and all of that, right? So now you must be wondering how we can get into this company, right? Yes, so that's about that. I'll be talking about along with Lahiru. So how you can. So you have been learning in the campus for like 3 years, almost 3 years, I would say, for your general degree, and sometimes you might be doing additional courses, sometimes the MSc programs and all of that. So you have been all that thing, all those coursework that you have been doing for 3 or 4 years time. So you have to put it into an interview, and you have to showcase what you have learned during that 30 minutes, right? So I'll take you through some of the things that you need to look for when you're doing an kind of an inspiring interview. Yes, Dinithi, if we move on, so I can go through some of the aspects. Yeah, so initially, so when I say here, so this is about how you can do an inspiring interview. What could be the aspects that you should need to focus when you're doing when you're getting into an inspiring interview, and how you can make it a successful interview, right? So the first thing is about the first impression, right? And if you focus on the 30 minutes to decide 30 years, so that's a kind of main focus that I want to give you here, because you will be having only 30 minutes to market yourself. All the things that you learn during these 3 or 4 years of time, you have to market it during these 30 minutes that you get. So that's the window of opportunity that you have, right? So for you guys, so there are some tips and tricks I'll be sharing where you can, how you can kind of make it successful. So the most important thing is think about these 30 minutes, because for most of the you guys, I would say it will be the deciding factor for your 30 years of career as a software engineer. If you take IFS, I think most of the people who joined IFS as their first job, they stay more than 10 or 15 years at IFS, right? Even in my case, it's 10 plus years. I know Lahiru is 10 plus years. Most probably Kasun is more than 15 years. I don't know. So I think most of the people who get into the industry and get a job, their first job is the deciding factor. So then they know what should be they should focus in the long term, and what kind of career aspirations that they have going forward. Yes, so that's why it's very important about the 30 minutes that you are getting for the interview, right? Yeah, so we will look into different aspects. What are the key aspects that you need to focus on? The first point I have mentioned is be prepared. That's the most critical thing. So you need to be prepared. And if you ask me where does the preparation starts, it's even before the interview. It starts with where you prepare your CV, right? So focus on that. And if you take your CV, so that will be the first place that you are getting, you are marketing yourself, right? The skills that you have, the kind of experience that you have as a person, and whether you have done any internships, or what is the exposure that you got in during that, and what is your degree program, whether it's completed now or not, whether you are, I mean, suppose that it's not your first job. So then if you are applying for a second job, then you have to mention your experience at that company, and how long you have been in working in that company, and what areas, right? Things like that. And of course, add a nice professional picture of you. In some CVs that we don't see this, I mean, but it gives you impression about yourself, what kind of a person you are, what's I mean, what is your posture looks like, and how young you may be, and how old you may be. So it gives a kind of a first impression. So again, that matters. Try to add a professional photograph to your CV, and the important aspect is the professionalism. Don't try to add photos in gardens or anything like that. Just add a professional photo, because it's your CV, right? And it will be the deciding factor when you are filtering, when we are filtering CVs for an interview. We will be going through your CV, and we will be looking at key points. So the first point that you need to focus on when you're getting prepared is about getting the CV in right place, right? So that's very important that you focus on that aspect. So and the second one is, I mean, when you're again when you're preparing the CV, don't put too many details about all the technologies that you have done, all the exams that you have done. Sometimes it could be the O-level exams and all the subjects that you have done and the results that you got for the O-level subjects. I don't think that it will add value to the software engineering position that you are applying for, right? So try to keep it simple at the same time as well, right? Make it relevant to the job and try to keep it simple with all the critical details. So that's very important when you're going to when you're focusing on the preparation aspect. And the second aspect, when you're preparing, focus on the company and the job that you're going to apply, right? So I mean, if you're applying for IFS, you know that it's a product-based company, and our key product is Enterprise Resource Planning. And yes, of course, we have other products in along with us, but you need to understand the context, and you need to know where you are getting recruited for, right? So that's very important that you have a background, you have done a background check on the company that you're getting recruited for, and you understand the domain that they are working in, whether it's a global company, whether it's a local company, and whether do they do projects, or whether do you have foreign clients. So what is the opportunities that you will be getting if you get into this company? Things like that, you need to do a background study. And of course, you need to focus on the job that you're applying. So sometimes I see there are a lot of people apply for all the jobs that it available in a career page, right? Sometimes it could be a tech lead or architect, or it could be a system engineer. So try to pick the right job that requires your skill set and match your skill set, and try to apply for that, target that specific position, and try to apply for that. So that's part of your preparation as well, right? Because if you take the normal job advertisement, of course they will mention what is the location, what is the expected technical aspects, what is the experience level that they are looking for, and what kind of technical aspects that they will be having, and what kind of projects that they will be working on. So likewise, every job has a job description, so look into that, and be prepared with that aspect as well, so then you know what you're getting into. That's also very important when you're under your preparation aspect, right? So then I covered on the preparing about the CV, and getting to know about your job, the company that you're applying for, and the job that you're applying for. And the next most important thing is, when you're having an interview, you need to be punctual. And because it's the first 30 seconds of that interview will give the impression to the interviewer whether whether he's going to consider this candidate or not, right? If you're late, and if you're not, I mean, if the interviewer has to wait for you, and if the interviewer has to call you and drag you into the meeting, so then it doesn't give the right impression, right? And so in the current context, yes, there are online interviews, as well as sometimes you might go into the physical interviews as well. So if it is a physical interview, yes, be punctual, and of course at the same time try to be there in advance, like 5 to 10 minutes in early, right? So you can grab a coffee, get refreshed. You might be traveling for a long time, right? So then better to get in line and get prepared and refreshed, and be prepared for the interview. So that's also very important, that if you are placing for a kind of physical interview. And if it is not the case, if it is a virtual interview, yes, uh, be there on time. And again, check your devices, whether you have a backup network connection, whether your lighting is right, whether you have background noises coming up and there. So check that thing, those things, and be available on time. And yeah, the next aspect is about being pleasant and professional. So now I'm here talking about the first impression that you could give to the interviewer, right? So sometimes I see people that, I mean, they're not really prepared, and they are not like, I mean, not properly dressed up, and the environment is a mess. And once you switch on the camera, we can see the background. So it's not very professional. So you're designing your entire career on these 30 minutes, right? So you have to put some effort, and be prepared, and be pleasant, and be professional. So you have to give some effort into that. So that's also very important when from that aspect, right? And yeah, the dress code, of course, look into it. And of course, the if I touch on the environment again, so that's also very important, especially when you have these virtual interviews. because sometimes there could be network failures, there could be electricity failures. So you be prepared, and of course you have to handle the situation in a professional manner, right? I mean, if you in the middle of an interview there is electricity drop, yes, that could happen, right? So be patient, and then you can drop a mail, or whether you can go for a reschedule of the interview. Handle it in a professional manner, and always try to have a backup option, right? I mean, if you are getting into an online or a virtual interview, try to have a secondary internet connection. It could be a mobile hotspot, or it could be a dongle. Try to have a secondary option be in ready, right? So then you can quickly switch into the other network and continue with the interview, because that's again matters. And it's very important that you kind of focus on these aspects, especially when you are doing the online interviews, right? And so one critical thing, so the place that you are, the background, and the kind of the environment that you're having the virtual interview. Sometimes that most of you might be doing your interviews while you're at home, right? So, and sometimes the people at home, they might not know that you are in the middle of an interview. So they might quick come to your room and might talk to you. So it's not very pleasant and professional. So keep them aware that you are getting into an interview. Don't disturb you. Just keep the people around your home informed. I mean, people at your place informed that you are getting into an interview, and please do not disturb me, right? So that's again a professionalism that shows. And there are some instances where there are a lot of background noises. So in a scenario like that, handle the situation. Say politely to the interviewer, yes, I think we should reschedule this, and you will come back again, or you can excuse from the interview for a couple of minutes and get it handled and come back. So try to handle the situation. That's also a very important aspect, right? Yeah. And one more thing I should focus when you're doing online interviews. Sometimes the interviewer may ask you to share your screen, right? So then in that case, be mindful about what you share, right? Sometimes there are people who share the whole screen, so then we can see that they have been searching on the questions that has been asked on interviews. But so they share their entire screen, so sometimes we can see the web browsers, the emails, and all, everything. So be professional. If you have been asked to share a notepad where you can write some pseudocode, yes, try to share only that screen. So then of course it shows that you are professional and handling the situation as well, right? So that's also important aspect. And yeah, so your devices and the lighting, sometimes you cannot see the person, so focus on that aspect. And one more thing I will touch, it's the opportunity aspect. So don't consider the interview as a threat to you, right? So there are some people that we see were very scared when you are doing the interview. Don't think like that it's a threat to you. It's an opportunity to you, right? It's where you will get your career sorted. So think it from that aspect rather than it as a threat. So focus on that aspect as well. And so don't be nervous. There are, so once you get nervous, I mean, then there are most of the things that you already know, you might be not be able to communicate it in a good way, right? And you might get panicked, and you might not be able to uh, give the outcome that you have been looking for. So don't be nervous, be relaxed, and try to give the best output that you have been prepared up to now, right? So focus on that aspect. And the final thing, the introduction. So most probably, I think all of you will be asked to give an introduction about yourself. So that's a critical point, and it's a very good opportunity that all of you get to market yourself and to kind of differentiate you from the others, right? Don't try to, I mean, I have seen many people say about their, I mean, family background, their parents and their brothers and sisters, where they're coming from. Try to add some value during this introduction, right? It could be, you can say something that is not mentioned in the CV specifically. It could be about you, why IFS, why you are applying for IFS, what makes you passionate about IFS, on what is your long-term passion. So things like that you can mention in during the introduction, right? So why you are applying for this position. So it gives a clear idea to the interviewer, okay, this person is motivated about the company, and this person is motivated about the job, and I should check his technical skills and consider him, right? So try to use that window of opportunity to the maximum, because that's the first impression that you could make. That will be during the first 5 minutes of the interview, right? So that's where you can pitch yourself and market yourself and make an impression during the first 5 minutes, right? So these are some of the basic things that I covered, what you should focus on a high level. So even during the in the word cloud, you can see that I have highlighted the keywords. So it should be an honest one. You should be confident, and it's an opportunity. Be professional, right? Be punctual. You market your strengths during the introduction, and be relaxed, and yes, show your motivation for the job, right? So these are very critical factors for an inspiring interview, right? So I hope you got an idea. I think it's not the end about the interview aspect. I think Lahiru will continue about the other aspects that you should cover during an interview. So this is about getting prepared and the high level of the how you can do a inspiring interview. Yeah, Lahiru, I think I'll hand over to you so you can take over to the next slides.
Thanks, Ishan.
Yep.
Dinithi, let's move to the next turn. Yep. We name this space in the interview as walk the talk. This is where you have the opportunity to prove yourself as a software engineer that you are suitable for working IFS or other company. So this is basically where you can prove your capabilities, skills, thinking patterns to the interviewer. As Inshat mentioned earlier, every question in this space will be an opportunity for you to market yourself as well as establish your value to the company. One of the most important points I need to highlight in this space is be honest. Uh, be honest to yourself as well as be honest about your CV as well. So there will be questions raised in this page based on your work, previous experiences, internships, projects you have done, and also about the skills you have mentioned in the CV. So I have seen candidates who struggles to explain his or her own project, own experience from the internship, or maybe the learnings from the projects and the internships they have covered. That's not a good sign to show, right? Make sure you're familiar with the points and the experiences mentioned in the CV are up to date and correct, and you have highlighted your top skills, top capabilities. So this can be questions and those can be checked during the interview. If you're unable to answer or defend a topic, if you feel if you're not comfortable in that specific topic, have a thought whether you need to mention that in your CV. So you'll be also you'll be asked of some technical questions, both theoretical and practical questions based on the domain you are being interviewed for. This will enable you to showcase your analytical skills, what Heshan earlier mentioned, what we expect as a fresh graduate, your creativity skills, your innovative skills, your problem solving skills, and also about your ability to provide alternative solutions and many other soft skills that will be detailed out by Dilushi in the following sessions. So at IFS, we are looking for candidates, as Heshan correctly mentioned, we are looking for engineers who understand the programming principles, who understand how the programming principle works, why they are there and why they work like that, and how they get connected with each other. So that's the part we are looking for rather than the knowledge and the experience on a specific technology. If you do have the understanding of those principles and you know why it works like that and how it works and how it connects together, you will be able to apply your knowledge and you'll be proving to the interviewer that you are able to apply your knowledge to any challenging situation that you will face during your work at IFS or the other workplaces. I've seen database experts coming into interviews and saying that they have the experience in working in the latest databases, the trendiest databases, but who doesn't even know how to approach a simple performance tuning task. That's not what expected from a database expert. You need to have the basics. You need to have uh, the underlying principles, why they work like this and how they work like that. The questions will mainly cover the basic programming concepts, the theories. So basically refresh what you learned during as the foundation of your degree program. That's important. Interviewers will check how you can design and architect maybe a simple system, your knowledge on data structures and algorithms, maybe some of the database concepts, and also other areas that will be mattering to the specific domain that you are interviewed for. Also, we are looking for individuals who are solution oriented and have the ability to provide alternative solutions if you don't see a straightforward answer. Another important aspect is how to handle situations within the interview. Uh, it might be a situation in the sense, as Ishan mentioned, it might be a power cut, which I'm experiencing right now. It might be a question that you don't know the answer. It might be a term that you haven't heard prior. Or it might be a situation with the environment, like a unannounced power cut or a loud background noise. The important factor is it doesn't mean that your interview is over. It doesn't mean you won't get a chance. It's an opportunity, like Ishan and I mentioned as well. All the questions, all the chances you get within the 30 or 20 or 40 minutes you get during interview is an opportunity to showcase your talents. So even a situation like that is a opportunity for you to showcase your situation handling skills, because every day at IFS you'll be facing different challenges when be- different circumstances that you need to overcome. So it's not the same thing you're doing over and over again. So that's where your situation handling skills comes important. So if you know the answers to all the questions that we ask, that's great. But have a thought, like, how will you handle a situation where you don't know the answer? Will you propose an alternative solution? Will you try out with the things you already know? Remember, as Ishan correctly mentioned, the 30 minutes that you get is to showcase your capabilities and skill. So try to be creative, try to be innovative in a situation that you don't know the answer, and try to come up with something, or maybe come up with a like innovative answer. That's important, because that will go a longer way than simply saying I don't know. Yeah. So we end the walk to talk. So we will now focus on how to end interview. So we name this as finish on high. Um, all great interviews finish on a high note, in a positive and high note. So you may, when you end the interview, you may already have a feeling how the interview went. You may feel it didn't go well, yeah, that you didn't handle the technical questions well, or you fluttered during the interview, or still you may want to finish high. You may want to finish in a positive note, because the end itself might make a difference. So before you end the interview, make sure you raise any doubts or questions or clarifications you require on your job, or maybe on the company or in the department that you've been interviewed for. So these questions need to be valid and current. So don't try to Google the questions that you can Google, like what to ask at the end of the interview, and don't ask them. So make sure you ask valid and current questions that's matter to you and your career, because this is about your career, and maybe as a fresh graduate, this is about how you are going to start your career. So you should be having lots of questions. So ask the important ones there. You may also get the opportunity to share your long-term passions, the career goals with the interviewer, and that will help out both the interviewer and yourself to map out whether the company can afford your goals, if your goals and passion matches with company's business goals. So that's also goes a long way if you get the opportunity to share those passions and aspirations with the interviewer. One of the steps in the interview process, either it might be the first interview or it might be the final interview, you are required to identify your value, basically about the benefit package. You need to prepared for this. Don't be surprised if someone asks you like what's your expectation and so on. You need to have an idea. You have to analyze the trends, what's in the market, and also have an idea of how you perform during the interview. And based on that, you can and also about the value you can bring into the company. Maybe you have done an internship that's similar to what we expect in the current job role, so that can give a additional value than someone else. So see do your own calculation of the value you can bring into the company, and be prepared for that question. Also, at last but not least, whatever happened during the interview, have a retrospective of yourself about your performance, how you performed, how you answered. Is there anything lacking on your technical knowledge? Did I struggle with any idea, any of the aspects? Is this what is looking in the industry? Did I get that in the academy, or I need to brush up any things? Have a thought. That will help you out about on your career growth, and maybe with the next interview and the next opportunity. So thank you. This is about the theoretical practice session. And with that, thank you so much for the listening in. And I will hand over to Dilushi to continue with the soft skills section of this presentation.
Thank you very much, Lahiru. Hi, everyone. I'm Dilushi Kulasinghe, and I'm a Senior Manager Global Support from the division Global Support and Delivery. I need to apologize to you guys because I'm currently going through a power outage, so I won't be able to switch on the video. But nevertheless, let's not let that become a challenge to this session and move on to what the soft skills are that are required from a software engineer. Okay, guys, gone are the days when the expectation from a SE are mostly towards their programming skills and technical skills. As the software industry became more integrated with business, the expectations from a software engineer also evolved. So because of that, you need to remember that soft skills are actually like a key part of your toolbox as a software engineer. And you also need to develop the willingness to like learn them and improve them along your journey. So what exactly are soft skills? Soft skills are mainly the character traits or the interpersonal skills that sort of characterize a person's relationship with other people. So now let's focus on what are the key soft skills that are required from you within this industry so that you can learn about it, develop them, and also use them to thrive in your workplace. Right. First one, communication. Basically, just like any other profession, effective communication is key in software engineering as well. Communication can be verbal or non-verbal, right? So when you communicate either verbally or through a written mode like emails, you have to do that with clarity and conviction. And communication etiquette, good communication etiquette is also very important. You have to be polite and you need to not interrupt the other person while they're talking. But remember, communication is a two-way street. So you need to be a good listener as well. Active listening actually makes all the difference in the world. When you actively listen to another person, you understand the context better, you have clarity about the requirement, and also you get to learn from what the other person is saying. Right? Moving on to the next trait, time management. You know that as a software engineer, like you are responsible for delivering a satisfactory product or a service, right, to the client. And most importantly, you need to deliver that in a timely manner. So you need to be punctual and time conscious. Basically, you have deadlines to meet and estimates to give, right? So when you say that you can complete a task within a given period of time, you need to stick to your word, because everyone has the same 8 hours of 8 hours during their work day. So it's all about how you manage your workload within that time period. And that is what makes all the difference in the world. Customer centricity. What exactly is customer centricity? It is like the ability to understand the customer situations, their perceptions, and what they eventually expect from us. So when you work for a customer-centric organization, for an instance like IFS, as a software engineer, you need to listen to your customer. You need to properly understand what their requirement, and based on that, you need to give the right solution. And also, after giving the solution, you have to provide customer support as well. So basically, in a nutshell, as a software engineer, you need to commit to customer success. Right? Then let's move on to people management, more like stakeholder management. So just like you manage the customer, you need to manage all the other stakeholders as well. For an instance, it can be your team member, a member from another division, or even can be a manager or a director that you report to. But nevertheless, you need to maintain a good professional relationship with people who have an impact on the work that you do. Moving on to teamwork and collaboration, that's a very important trait. So you need to know that software engineering, end of the day, is a team sport, right? You will never be entirely on your own on a project. That means that you need to have the ability to work within a team. Different people actually have different opinions, different personalities, right? But in a workplace environment, you need to know sort of how to handle each person in a professional manner. So when it comes to challenges, always remember collaborating as a team is essential, and it usually generates better results, because most of the time, the same challenge, you may not be able to achieve the same result if you tackled it individually. And one important aspect is that at IFS, we consider collaboration as one of our core values, and we live by that every day. Moving on to the next slide. Right. So critical thinking and problem solving. If you look at software engineering from a broader perspective, it's actually all about like solving complex problems, right? So be it like, software as powering aircrafts or oil plants, hospitals, or even library systems as such, end of the day, it's all about solving problems. Scope and complexity can vary, it can be different, but end of the day, the nature of it is the same. So as a good software engineer, you have to be a critical thinker. Be somebody who challenges themselves to solve complex problems. Be somebody that drive themselves to think outside the box and also improvise. Moving on to creativity, software engineering actually requires a lot of creativity. It may not always be in the traditional sense of art or music, but end of the day, the creativity that is involved in software engineering, we refer to it as technical creativity. Right? And you, as a software engineer, you have to be creative to solve the complex problems that you face daily. Brainstorming itself is a creative process, right? So there could be situations where the problem that you're facing can have like multiple solutions. But as a critical thinker, you need to select the most optimal solution from the options that are presented to you. And with your creativity, you will have to expand and also build further on that solution. Moving on to continuous learning and development, as we all know that learning is a never-ending process, right? It does not ending with you obtaining this degree or you going to complete your master's or even settling down with a good job. You need to develop that ability to learn continuously and learn lifelong. So as a software engineer, continuous learning and development, it will not help you to accomplish your day-to-day tasks, but it will also be the force that moves you up your career ladder. Okay, confidence. So confidence helps you to make better decisions and also fear less about the obstacles that you face in life, work under pressure, and also adapt accordingly. Remember that making mistakes and failing it's a part of the learning process. So always try it before you quit it. As a software engineer, you have to be confident enough that you can find the solution, or at least you will end up tackling the problem from all the angles presented. So with time, you will get better. You will get better and you will have an advantage over others, and you will have more wins in your professional life as well as your personal life. Moving on to accountability. Right? Guys, sometimes you make mistakes. We all make mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes may go unnoticed, right? And you will sort of let out that sigh of relief. But as a software engineer working in a professional environment, you need to accept and take ownership of your mistakes. And that is basically what accountability is all about. As you can see on the screen, you in a team, you provide you represent and you are responsible for your piece of the puzzle, right? In a sense, that means the task that you are assigned to do so. So mistakes, remember, as I said, mistakes can happen, but always look at it and take it as an opportunity to learn from it, and then also remember not to repeat them. Shall we move on to the next slide? Okay, empathy. In most basic terms, empathy means putting yourself in another person's shoes. When you're dealing with people, it's important to understand people, mostly their belief systems, their concerns, and also their mental and personal characteristics. Because when you understand that better, you can adjust your behavior according to the person when you're dealing with them. And that will actually come to your advantage. And as a software engineer in your workplace, that will make you more sensible and more approachable. Patience. Software engineering is not a piece of cake, right? As they say, it's complex and sometimes it's a tedious process as well. Even in the most agile environments, it could take time. So patience is very important, especially when you're starting out your career. First, you need to be patient with yourself. Give yourself enough time and also enough chances to make errors and fix them. But remember, once you're patient with yourself first, it's easier for you to be patient with others. Right? Okay. Then let's move on to open-mindedness and adaptability. As a software engineer, you must be willing to listen to others. You have to be open to the new ideas, and most importantly, you have to be open for constructive criticism and constructive feedback. Because these things will allow you to discover your own weaknesses, strengths also, and if you have weaknesses, then that will allow you to tackle them at an early stage. At the same time, you know that we all are. Human nature is to sort of resist change, right? But as a software engineer in an ever-evolving industry like the technological world that we live in, you have to adapt to according to the situations. You need to build that trait that you adapt according to situation or what the situation demand. Right? For an instance, you need to be updated about the developments in the world, right? And invest time, invest time to basically self-learn about the latest trends in the industry, and also see how you can sort of grasp that knowledge and utilize it in your current situation where you can sort of optimize the solutions that you are presenting. Right? Moving on to flexibility. And as I mentioned just a second ago, unpredictability and change, it's constant in life, right? So as a software engineer, you have to be flexible in the way you work. You have to you must develop that trait that you are willing to accommodate other people's needs also. Don't always be preoccupied with your own objectives. Basically, when you're flexible, you can deal with unexpected challenges quickly, calmly, and most importantly, efficiently. So last but not least, at IFS, we take immense pride in humility and being humble. Being humble will allow you to put aside your number of years of experience or your age, and it will allow you to learn from others, have an open mind, and accept insights from others and accept ideas from others. Because end of the day, being humble with some humility, it will make you a better software engineer and most importantly, a better human being. So you will be able to see beyond the existing social hierarchies. Okay, so on that note, we can wrap up this session and I will hand it over to Dinithi back again so we can continue with the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dilushi. Can I please get a confirmation whether y'all can hear me clearly?
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So, dear students, I think all of you would have listened to a very informative session. And so basically starting from the technical aspects, theory to practical aspects, and also soft skills aspects, team members, we were able to share those insights with you all. So before we start the Q&A session, just to quickly give a brief summary. So y'all must be aware that we are coming to SLIT premises on 19th April for our exclusive career day. And you can meet all the hiring managers who conducted this session today on 19th as well. So if you have anything to clarify and if you wish to talk to them, definitely they will be there for you. So mainly we are looking at engineers who have completed their studies and who are about to pursue their career full time. So that's the main expectation on April 19th. So hope to see you all there. We have a lot of opportunities, and from this session I think y'all would have definitely got a lot of information on how to prepare yourself when you're coming on 19th as well. So having said that, the forum is open to questions and we are so happy to answer. Y'all can unmute and talk to us, or even drop in your questions to the chat. Do we have the coordinators here from SLIT?
Dinithi, we have received a couple of questions and we
All
can
right.
see, yeah,
Okay.
we can see them in the chat.
All right. Sorry. Okay, so how are we going to take this? Right. So there's a question. Let me pick this. In terms of if we are not, if the students are not proficient in tech stacks used at IFS, but proficient in another tech stack, would it be possible for me to apply to IFS is a question. Can Heshan pick it?
Yeah, I think that's a definite yes. Yes, irrespective of what's the tech stack, it's mainly like I think Lahiru was very clear on what we and Ishan was also explaining like what we really looking to a look in a software engineer. It's about having that entire technical skills. It's not just the tech stack, but the problem solving skills, understanding of the core concepts, the data structures, algorithms, and how well you can basically deal with complex scenarios when we are having enterprise level software development. So it's not just about being siloed in a tech stack. You might be coming on from different tech stacks. Like nowadays, lots of your final projects is being done with Python or Flutter or those kind of technologies, but it doesn't mean that the industry is just looking for those kind of technology. There's a vast majority of global technologies that you might not be aware at the moment as well. So yes, definitely yes, you can apply.
Okay, thank you, Heshan. So there's another question. Associate software engineer positions. So I think the situation is that, so yeah, you have completed 6 months of internship, and the question is whether he can apply as a associate software engineer at IFS. I think we can answer that as well, right?
Yeah, I'll
Right.
take that. Currently, we don't have associate software engineer openings within any of the units. But of course, what you can do is simply because we are like trying to recruit software engineers. So the focus was not on associate software engineers. But if you have a case and if you have completed the internship and if you're looking for associate software engineer, what I suggest is meet us at 19th. We'll be there. All 4 of us, all 6 of us, as well as other managers will be there. So we can take a discussion and see what's the requirement and what we can do about the associate software engineer position. So currently we don't have any openings, but we can consider.
Right. Yes. Thank you, Lahiru. There's another question about software engineering internships and in terms of the tech stacks that is required as a software engineer intern at IFS. I think that's quite similar to the previous answer that Heshan shared. So we are open, and then if you want to get more information around it, of course, we have a lot of internship openings. So if you want to get more information around it and check the opportunities, definitely y'all can come and talk to us on 19th or directly reach out to us as well. From a talent acquisition point of view, we'll share our contact details, so you can reach out to us as well.
One thing to add there, Dinithi, like on our interns. So since we been so focused on developing our our fresh grads or our newly recruited software engineers for interns as well. We don't really put interns into a side projects other than what we do day to day in software engineering. We also get the interns into our main project. So if you're an intern, if you're joining IFS, that means you're working on real world problems, real world with real world industries and our customers and with our expertise, software engineers, software architects, and also. So you'll be working mainly in our main projects and you'll be exposed to all the tech stacks or the software engineering practices, and that would kind of give you to shape up your career future.
Yes, thank you, Heshan. Do we have more questions?
Miss Dinithi, I think that's all.
That's all. Okay, right. All right. So in that case, I think so from IFS side, we wanted to, of course, as usual, we are not just a company that is focused. Okay, I think we have. No, sorry. Yeah, that is just focused on uh, the business. We are focused on people's careers. We are focused on supporting the graduates and taking them up to their next level. So it's all about this teamwork that we're trying to do. We are initiating with a lot of universities, and this is I think the second or the third time it's lit. So thank you so much for inviting us for this and for your participation. So hoping to see all of you on 19th. And thank you so much, dear team, for being here amidst your busy schedule as well. So I think we can wrap up the session. And before wrapping up, so dear students, if you are looking for a career beyond just a job, IFS is always open to you. And all these managers, these incredible teams are there to support you throughout your journey. So wishing you all the very best. Plus, hoping to see you on 19th. I think we can wrap up the session for today. Let's meet again from another interesting event in the future. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
and good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all to our presenters today for delivering an amazing and informative session and for dedicating your time and effort to share your knowledge and experience. So as Ms. Dinithi mentioned, there will be a career fair conducted by IFS for SLIT students on the 19th of May. And in this program, IFS mainly focuses on recruiting SLIT undergraduates for the roles of software engineering interns and software engineers. So this is a golden opportunity, so please make the best use of it. We have shared more details regarding this and the application form links in the chat window. And also please like and follow our SCSU social media pages to stay updated. And the links to our social media pages have also been shared in the chat. And it was a great pleasure to have you all with us. And I hope that this session provided a great insight on industrial guidance. And once again, I would like to thank our presenters for their time and effort for sharing your knowledge and experience. Thank you all for attending this session.
All right.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.